Good morning, everyone. You know, some days I begin the day with a breakfast which is warm, like oatmeal. Other days I begin with a breakfast with a crunchy type of a cereal, Great Grains or Rice Chex or something like that. And I depends on what I need for the day and what I think I need and what seems to appeal to me. Well, this gospel today, I'm not sure if maybe you do or don't think that you need to hear this today, but I think for me it's very, very good, and it's important for me to hear this gospel. It's all about being prepared, because at any moment when I hear this gospel proclaimed, I want to yell out, "Why didn't you prepare? What is the problem?" Of 10 women, 5 of them were prepared, and 5 of them just, their minds were somewhere else. I'm not sure where. What I'd like to do is to kind of get the crunch out of this gospel by giving a couple illustrations and hopefully to make a point that will be meaningful to all of us. And so the first little illustration is about a young guy who's in college. It's his first year in college, and it's early September. And eventually, he goes to all his classes, and they give him all the different syllabuses and such, and, when this paper is due and when that lab is done, to be done, those types of things. Well, finally, after living on his own for a while, no longer having mom and dad set curfews or asking, where he's going or who he's going with, and doing as he pleases, as much as he wants, suddenly he realizes, oh my gosh, it's November, Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and then after returning from Thanksgiving break, he's got like 2 weeks, final exams, and then he's done. And then all of a sudden he realizes, I have a paper I haven't even begun. I have a lab for chemistry that is incomplete yet. He has a spine of his history book which has never been cracked. He's in deep trouble. And all of a sudden, in talking to his friends, people can hear him just kind of getting all excited. Well, that professor, too darn demanding. What does he think? We do this like a full-time job? Come on. Why do I have to take this writing course? I think it's kind of dumb. I'm a business major. The instructor is just so boring. The class meets way too early. Excuse after excuse after excuse. But the real issue is, this kid is an empty lantern. Another example. These people don't fail to make their feelings known. They write in and they say, you've got to cut the budget. Quit wasting the taxpayer dollars. This or that particular service is not needed. You mean you say you're going to give our hard-earned tax dollars to these lazy freeloaders? But when there's a service that they like that gets cut, when money for their children's education has not been appropriated, when they have to haul in their own garbage in their back seat or their trunk and then haul it to the local dump because the community can't afford trash service, all of a sudden they're stunned. How could this happen? Well, easy. These people are empty lanterns. This particular gospel today is really meaty. At first glance, it's easy to say it's just another story Jesus told. But it really isn't just about 5 women who were prepared and were accountable and 5 women who just didn't give a darn. This parable is one which is often played out in my life and in yours, when we realize too late that we are the lazy lanterns, empty of the oil of responsibility and gratitude and generosity and justice. Our inability to place the common good before our own, that's a problem. Our failure to see how our actions can affect other people, that's a problem. Our refusal to accept responsibility for one another extinguishes the light of hope that we thought that would never go out. There's so much that we want to do with our lives, and particularly for those that aren't quite settled into what their niche will be when they get older. But the struggle to make a living or to compete for things like that in the long run, they really don't make a difference. It can sometimes derail us from making our life a center of love for our family and friends, in an awareness of God's presence in our midst, in a yearning to contribute to the greater good of all. Friends, Christ warns us not to fall into the trap of the 5 foolish bridesmaids who squandered their time before the bridegroom's arrival to embrace the wisdom of the 5 bridesmaids who trimmed their lamps. In other words, they controlled how much oil it would burn. They paced themselves. They didn't live frivolously. And their oil was the oil of mercy, of generosity, of forgiveness in the precious time that we have until Christ's coming. Truth of it is, any one of us could have our lives requested of us by God this week. We don't know. I'm not suggesting we walk around with a cardboard box over our head hoping that God won't recognize us. We were all born. We will likely all die. But what are we going to do in the meantime? Should we live foolishly or thoughtfully? Should we do what's easy, day in and day out, and just get by? Or should we do what sometimes is very challenging but extraordinarily rewarding? And that is by embracing what we believe and claim to believe as Catholic Christians. So this week, make your efforts mean something. Consider the bigger picture when deciding what to put your efforts into. This gospel today is a great one for a beautiful, sunny Sunday, because it helps us to be grateful for what we have, but thoughtful for how we can participate in God's plan.